So one thing you have to remember is that when it comes to different organizations, you can't just look at what the organization's called, you can't just look at the mission statement. You have to really look at what they actually say, what they represent. You just can't go based off of a title or a single sentence. Because you have an organization like PETA, PETA for the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. That is something that I am for. That is something that I think that just about everyone's for. Like, don't abuse animals. Everyone's for that. But the issue is, of course, is where they define abuse to the point where they're all vegetarians, vegans, like that. And I would disagree. But then they get to the point where they go even further and they start talking about things like speciesism, which I looked up later and turns out they did not invent the word. It's been out for a bit. And I thought it was a parody. I thought it was a joke, and apparently it's not. So this was posted by PETA, I believe, yesterday, December 4th. They have now changed their name of their Twitter page to reflect this new thing. It says, "Words matter, and as our understanding of social justice evolves," there's a red flag right there, "our language evolves along with it. Here's how to remove speciesism from your daily conversations." Now, again, speciesism, which I guess, what is racism? Well, it's prejudice based on racial differences. What is sexism? Prejudice based on sex differences. So speciesism is prejudice based on difference in species. And honestly, I suppose I am a speciesist. I suppose that is who I am. I wouldn't say I'm proud. I wouldn't say I'm ashamed. But I am simply a speciesist in the sense that, yes, I treat animals, or I hold animals to a different standard that I hold human beings, and that they are not moral equivalents. That is not to say that they are entitled or they deserve abuse or you are allowed to abuse them, but it's more, obviously, I treat animals different than I treat human beings because they're animals. Whereas it's obviously wrong to treat someone, say, like someone of a different race because they are of that race in a certain way, because we're all human beings. Like that difference does not have a moral element to it. It does not have a significant, a significant difference. But when it comes to animals, again, animals, they cannot make moral judgments, therefore we hold them to different moral standards. They're totally different, to the point where, again, like speciesism, I fail to see how that's a bad thing or a good thing, or rather anything. But yeah, so PETA put out, "Stop using anti-animal language," so they have a few phrases here of which they encourage us to stop using. Instead of saying "kill two birds with one stone," they say "feed two birds with one scone." And at least I appreciate that they tried to help out by making it rhyme, make it easier to say. But then it gets even worse because they say "be the guinea pig," which I understand that it refers like testing on animals, but instead that they say "be the test tube," which is not it's not a thing. It's not a It's not a catchy phrase. It's not something that will be easily adopted. "Beat a dead horse," which is to feed a fed horse, which I guess they're both equal, but I mean, I don't even know if I can call that animal abuse to beat a dead horse, because again, the horse is dead. I guess that's like, I don't know if you consider it abuse either when it comes to humanity. Is it immoral to beat a dead body? I'm not sure. At that point, it's just like the point of the phrase applies, in which point it's pointless. There is no point. There's no point. The point of the phrase is that there is no point in doing this action. But yes, bring home the bacon. Instead, bring home the bagels. Which, to be perfectly honest, I have purchased lots of bacon in my life. I mean, not an incredible amount, but probably over $100 worth of bacon in my lifespan. And I've eaten way more than that. I don't think I've ever actually bought a bagel, so I won't be using this, because I have never purchased a bagel in my life. Take the bull by the horns instead of "take the flower by the thorns," which is rather odd because I don't even think those apply. Because I'm pretty sure, like, "take the bull by the horns," they're saying take it head on, and I'm not even sure if that's like, how else are you gonna take a bull? Like, but I'm pretty sure the whole point of taking a bull by the horns is to take it head on and get the most leverage. But I'm too much looking into phrases. But "take the flower by the thorns" does not seem like a good idea at all. Like, if you're going to take a flower, like, if you're going to go head on and take a flower, I don't know why you would grab it by the thorns. Why? Why at all? But again, even then, take the bull by the horns. The bull is meant to be the problem. I fail to see how a flower is, but I'm putting way too much effort into trying to decipher this. But the point being This is the stuff that PETA is pointing out, or is putting out, if you're giving them money. And that's the thing, like, I'm totally against animal abuse, obviously. I think just about everyone is. I will admit I haven't done much to stop animal abuse, otherwise than say I disagree with it. Because there are many more important issues to me, and I'm not at the moment. But if you're trying to stop animal abuse, maybe this is not the way to put your money, especially because it's kind of a self-defeating argument here, because there's one of two situations. Either there is a lot of animal abuse in this world, in which case PETA is completely ignoring that and putting efforts into this. And let's say they're even addressing it, actually. They're even addressing that issue. But they're taking your money and putting effort into this. Stop using anti-animal language. Because apparently, like, they determined that instead of putting that bit of money that it took to make this, or that it took to pay someone's salary who made this, instead of putting money towards stopping abuse, they put it towards this. Now, obviously, you can do both. But again, every penny spent on this is a penny not spent on stopping actual animal abuse. So that's the first situation, that there's animal abuse and they're ignoring it. Or situation two, there is no animal abuse to the point where they have nothing better to do than put out these things. In which case, if that is the case, then why donate to PETA at all? So this thing, by them putting it out, is making the case to cut their funding, to cut any donations, not funding, but cut donations that people would give to them. But yeah, so they're so proud of this. They've made it their Twitter name, PETA bringing home the bagels since 1980. 1.06 million followers, wow. But yeah, and then they followed up on this later, which I want to actually see how long it took. Oh, they don't put a date on the actual tweet. Can I click on this? No. What did I do? Here we go, 4:23. And then the next one was put out at 4:23 as well. So it was immediately after. Just as it became unacceptable to use racist, homophobic, or ableist language, phrases that trivialize cruelty to animals will vanish as more people begin to appreciate animals for who they are and start bringing home the bagels instead of the bacon. Now, I guess I can understand where they're coming from, but I don't think someone saying be the guinea pig is like accepting abuse of animals, which I understand what they're getting at. It's like testing on animals and they're against that, but it's a phrase. It's at the point where, you know how phrases work, that eventually people lose all meaning to them, that the phrase has a certain meaning over time, but we forget about what it originally meant. It's just something people say. They don't even think about what it actually represents most of the time. So honestly, like, this is not a good way to stop animal abuse. It is an entire waste of money. And for that reason, yeah, thank God I never gave money to PETA. There's a lot of worse things they've done than this. But I just thought this was so incredibly ridiculous that it's worth pointing out that members of PETA posted this unironically, seriously. They thought this was a good way to spend money. They thought this was an appropriate use of their time. But to the point where literally, I believe laughing at this is a more appropriate use of my time than it is there. But then again, I'm doing this for free. It's not like I'm being paid by people's donations to do things like this. So it just makes it all the much worse. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. There are some other incredibly stupid stuff as well, but that'll be for a different time. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.